Good day, everybody, and welcome to another edition of the Military and Foreign Affairs Network. I am your host, the voice of reason. Today, we are continuing our ongoing coverage of the Russian-Ukrainian war. And today, we have an update on the weapon systems and military assistance, both in equipment and obviously money as well, that the United States, just the United States, has provided to Ukraine, and it's significant. If you look at the 2021 defense budget for Israel, and Israel spends quite a bit on its own domestic security situation. That amount is about $21 billion. So in 2021, Israel spent about $21 billion for its defense. The United States, just in military supplies, this doesn't include other assistance from other nation states and other assistance, monetary assistance, direct monetary infusions of cash that the United States has provided, not even counting that. This is just military assistance. $22 billion. And what I'm going to do is go down the list now of military equipment that the United States has shipped to Ukraine. So first, over 1,600 Stinger anti-aircraft systems. Over 8,500 Javelin anti-armor systems. Now, when I think they're saying 8,500 Javelin and 1,600 Stingers, I'm not so sure they're talking about the actual launch platform. I think they're talking about the individual missiles that are supplied to the Javelin launch system. And again, prior to the war, the United States would usually deliver a few hundred of these to various allies around the world. I think at one point, Taiwan, for instance, had between, I believe it was 40 to 80 of the actual launch systems, which has the thermal viewer included, and probably a few hundred actual Javelin missiles were supplied to Taiwan. Ukraine's received over 8,500 Javelin missiles, just to kind of understand where that is in terms of the sheer numbers. Over 46,000 other anti-armor systems and munitions. So that means other systems as well. That could be systems purchased from other countries. That could be AT-4s, Carl Gustavs, systems such as those as well. Older Law rockets could have been handed out as well. We know that they have been. Over 700 Switchblade tactical unmanned aerial systems. Those are those kamikaze drones. 142 155 millimeter howitzers and up to 1,004,155 millimeter rounds. Let me repeat that again. The United States has handed over to Ukraine over 1,155 millimeter rounds. But it gets better. 4,200 precision guided 155 millimeter artillery rounds. 9,155 millimeter rounds of remote anti-armor mine systems, RAAMs. 36 105 millimeter howitzers and 180,000 rounds of 105 millimeter artillery rounds. 276 tactical vehicles to tow weapons, 22 tactical vehicles to recover equipment, 35 HIMARS, high mobility artillery rocket systems and ammunition, 20 120 millimeter mortar systems, and 135,000 rounds of 120 millimeter mortar rounds. This is another key, very important number that's been handed over to the Ukrainians. 1,500 tow missile systems, tube launch optically tracked wire guided missiles. 4 command post vehicles, 8. National Advanced Surface-to-Air Missile Systems and Munitions. Missiles for Hawk Air Defense Systems. Excuse me. 4 Avenger Air Defense Systems. An undisclosed number of high-speed anti-radiation missiles. 20 Mi-17 helicopters, obviously purchased from other countries. 45 T-72B tanks, again purchased from other countries and then handed over to the Ukrainians. Over 1,000 high-mobility multi-purpose wheeled vehicles. Over 100 light tactical vehicles. 44 trucks and 88 trailers to transport heavy equipment. 200 M113 armored personnel carriers. 250 M117 armored security vehicles. 440 Max Pro mine-resistant ambush protected vehicles. Mine-clearing equipment and systems, undisclosed number. Over 11,000 grenade launchers and small arms. Over 104 million rounds of small arms ammunition. 104 million rounds. Over 75,000 sets of body armor and helmets. Approximately 1,800 Phoenix Ghost tactical unmanned aerial systems. Again, these are the kamikaze drones. Laser-guided rocket systems. Undisclosed number. Puma unmanned aerial systems. Undisclosed number. 15 Scan Eagle unmanned aerial systems. 2 radars for unmanned aerial systems. Unmanned coastal defense vessels. Undisclosed number. Over 50 counter-artillery radars. That's important. 50. 4 counter-mortar radars. 20 multi-mission radars. Counter-unmanned aerial systems and equipment. Counter-air defense capability. Undisclosed number. 10 air surveillance radars. 2 Harpoon coastal defense systems. 58 coastal and riverine patrol boats. Undisclosed number of claymore mines and anti-personnel mines. Undisclosed number of C4 explosives, demolition munitions, and demolition equipment for obstacle clearing. Obstacle replacement equipment. Undisclosed number. Tactical secure communication systems. Undisclosed number. 4 satellite communications antennas. Thousands, undisclosed number, of night vision devices, surveillance systems, thermal imagery systems. Undisclosed number, optics and laser rangefinders. Undisclosed number, commercial satellite imagery services. Very important. Undisclosed number, chemical, biological, radiological, nuclear, and protective equipment. 100 medical treatment vehicles, over 350 generators. Undisclosed number, medical supplies to include first aid kits, bandages, monitors, and other equipment. Undisclosed number of electronic jamming equipment. Field equipment, cold weather gear, and spare parts. Undisclosed number. Funding for training, maintenance, and sustainment. Undisclosed number. As of September 9th, 2022, nearly 50 allies and partner countries have provided security assistance to Ukraine. Among their many contributions to Ukraine, allies and partners have delivered 10 long-range multiple-launch rocket systems, 178 long-range artillery systems, nearly 100,000 rounds of long-range artillery ammunition, nearly 250,000 anti-tank munitions, 359 tanks, 629 armored personnel carriers and infantry fighting vehicles, 8,214 short-range air defense missile systems, 88 lethal UAVs, and it just goes on. Total expenditures are probably going to exceed 100, or have exceeded $100 billion handed over to the Ukrainians. Now, the real question is there an end in sight? Is the pocketbook bottomless? Is it limitless? Is it going to continue in perpetuity? As of right now, it is. The Biden administration and the group of individuals that control Biden are absolutely going to continue this. So again, I guess the question is, for us here in America, when does it stop? And we just don't know that. Is this taxation without representation at some point? I don't know. You be the judge. Back to the map here. Obviously, we had displayed this yesterday. We are starting to see quite a bit of military units being redeployed by the Ukrainians that were in the area near Kherson. Obviously, now you can see that whereas there were probably 20 brigades operating along this front, now we see quite a bit less in terms of what was present. You've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 brigades. So about half of the Ukrainian force construct that was deployed against the Kherson area of operations appear to be redeploying. And we suspect at this point, at least what is being reported, is that they are being reassigned to areas near Bakhmut and Avdiivka, further to the south. Now, is that actually happening? Could this be something else in terms of a possible redeployment south of Zaporizhia? Could it be a deployment someplace else? Difficult to say at this point. But again, as we had anticipated, the Ukrainians would redeploy to the east. Again, it looks like the Russians having difficulty preventing the large-scale movement of Ukrainian forces across the Dnieper River. Again, going into this, we had believed that the Russians, if the plan was to seize control, and it made the most sense, if the Russians were going to go after large areas of Ukrainian territory, outside of a direct assault on Kiev, which was also tried, that the Russian goal would be to seize all areas east of the Dnieper River and then give Russia a major terrain feature as a defensive barrier, as the West would essentially then absorb the rest of Ukraine. As the West would then as Ukraine would then become partners with the North Atlantic Treaty Organization, which it now is. I mean, it is a de facto member of NATO in terms of the amount of equipment and military assistance that is being handed over to the Ukrainians. We just have not seen, openly at least, the deployment of regular U.S. forces and NATO partner nations introducing forces directly into Ukraine as of yet. But everything outside of that is being provided to the Ukrainians at this point. And it's obviously absolutely helping the Ukrainians, without a doubt. So we'll continue to monitor and watch what is happening. Obviously, a lot of heavy fighting taking place near Bakhmut, and again, further to the south, near Avdiivka. We believe at this point the Russians are really going to have to open this up to other areas to make headway at this point. Otherwise, they're just going to continue to drain personnel, equipment, with these attacks in the direction towards Bakhmut and Avdiivka. But at the same time, make no mistake, the Ukrainians are taking massive amounts of casualties as well. And it's difficult to say if this continues a year from now, after going through this winter, what does the next winter look like? I mean, the Russians appear to have no intent of stopping and continuing this. So at what point does the Ukrainian population demand some sort of a discussion with Russia? Do they drop the demand for Crimea? Do they drop the demand for Donetsk and Luhansk and possibly give the Russians the land corridor through Zaporizhia and Kherson down to Crimea? Difficult to say at this point. But we'll continue to monitor, report, and bring you more content for your consumption. Thank you for joining us today. Have a good day.